The first zero-cost advantage that a small business has is personalization. And no, not the algorithmic kind. While big businesses invest millions in AI for personalization, small businesses create the real thing through genuine human connection. Let's take the Yemeni bodega near me as an example. When this location first opened up, I went in and asked for a specific brand of hot sauce. And this was important because when I asked for that hot sauce, they actually said, we don't have it, but we're gonna actually just go ahead and order it for you for the next time. So they took a notebook out and they ordered it, and I've been able to get that hot sauce from this location ever since. Of course, that incentivized me to just honestly want to come back to buy the hot sauce that I asked for and not go to any other location. It kind of instilled a certain level of loyalty in me. It is this level of personalization that I believe allows this bodega to be that much more successful than ones on the same avenue. So in short, that first CX principle can be broken down to true personalization comes from human memory or thoughtfulness, not an algorithm. The most powerful CX tool isn't a CRM system, but rather a genuine interest in your customers. Even if you have thousands of customers, you're a B2B SaaS or a B2C, a business of some sort, a DTC, whatever it is, there are different ways to apply this principle. You can train staff to record details in their personal interactions with customers. You can create systems to track preferences, and you can establish what we call recognition protocols for returning customers. The ROI is extraordinary. Customers who feel personally recognized are 7 times more likely to recommend your business, and they're gonna spend about 31% more each purchase. I know that I definitely do. The second zero-cost advantage that a small business creates is the tight feedback loop. Large companies spend millions creating elaborate feedback systems, surveys, focus groups, analytics, all just trying to understand what the customer wants. Meanwhile, small businesses get this information for free through direct conversation. When I was 15 in Middle Tennessee, I started working at a Southern food restaurant. And what I really did appreciate about the owners is that pretty much every Sunday, they would be there with that after church crowd where I think is probably where they made most of their money, and they spoke directly to each customer that came in. Was the banana pudding too sweet? Was the gravy too salty? They were getting an understanding, an idea of what their customers wanted in the moment, and you better believe that the next week that banana pudding, that gravy, that cornbread would all reflect those customers' wants. These weren't formal surveys, they were real conversations with people that they had fed for years. This leads to our second CX zero-cost principle, which is simply that direct and honest conversation leads to better results than formal research. The most valuable feedback doesn't come from formal surveys, rather it comes from direct conversations with those people using your product or service. You can create this by having natural feedback moments at key points in the customer journey. You can train staff to have specific but open-ended questions. You can establish a simple system to not only collect, but also review those insights each week. And then you can close that loop by telling your customers directly that you've worked on that feature or bug that they've been asking you about. The power of this approach is that your customers become invested in your improvements. They move beyond simple consumers of your product to partners. The third zero-cost advantage that small businesses have when it comes to maybe their corporate rivals is when it comes to service recovery, i.e. when things go wrong. Large companies typically handle problems through rigid protocols, approval hierarchies, and standard compensation formulas. Small businesses, on the other hand, can make it right immediately and generously. One summer in college, I worked at U-Haul, and U-Haul franchises can kind of work like small businesses. The manager can think about everything that comes to aiding a customer. And this is important to know because we did have a customer come in with a problem with their hitch. Now, U-Haul does more than simply rent out trucks. They actually will install the hitch on your pickup or your SUV in order for you to be able to actually use something like a U-Haul trailer. Now, this individual's hitch was messed up and they had to be somewhere, Memphis, Tennessee, very soon. So instead of going through some process of figuring out exactly what went wrong and who was at fault and maybe the guy did something wrong, This manager simply fixed the hitch, no extra charge, gave him a U-Haul trailer, told him where he could leave it in Memphis, and let this guy go about his business. Now I remember a week goes by and we actually get a call back from this gentleman, and he was really grateful for his experience and was definitely going to use U-Haul again in his next trip. And if you know anything about U-Haul and what customer service is like there, that does not happen too often. And this is the third and maybe my favorite principle, is that immediate and generous service recovery actually means more than perfect service. The most powerful moment in your customer relationship isn't when things go right, but rather when things go wrong. You can implement this by empowering frontline staff to resolve issues without having to get further approval. Establish clear, make it right guidelines. Train teams on how to apologize effectively. And being sure to follow up on resolutions to ensure customer satisfaction. Research shows that customers who experience a problem but have it resolved remarkably well are actually more loyal than a customer who just has everything go right the first time. You know what? I lied. My favorite zero cost advantage for small businesses is our fourth and last principle for today, which is essentially the ability to naturally create community. Build community and not just have transactions. While large companies invest in loyalty programs, small businesses can create authentic belonging. Just look at Playground Coffee in Bed-Stuy. They're a coffee shop, yeah, but you can study there, you can learn how to become a barista there. They host tons of community events, and they have a free food refrigerator outside. That's not a transaction, that's infrastructure. Our fourth CX principle is that community building creates more loyalty than loyalty programs. The most effective loyalty program isn't points or discounts. It's creating a space where customers can connect around your brand. To be clear, the people who own Playground Coffee aren't doing this for any other reason other than they really care about the city and their community. But I do think they raise some really good ideas around what you can implement around your business and your brand. You can implement these things by creating simple events that bring people together. You can facilitate connections between customers with similar interests. You can recognize and celebrate your customers' milestones. When customers feel like they're part of a community, price sensitivity decreases and they become actual advocates for your business. All right, folks, thanks for checking out today's video. My name is Gabe, the CX practitioner. Hope you appreciated today's video. Be sure to check out our newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube, and I'll see you in the next one.